Welcome back. Round 2 here at the Plenty of Games Open Charity Brawl Combination event, raising money for Minus 18. Which is
Minus 18.
Great organisation supporting queer youth in Australia, which is fantastic. We've got round 2 coming up. Our players are already down there, so we're going to jump down to the match. You might notice I'm here. We've got Kira this round.
Yay!
We've sent Alec off. He's in timeout.
We're putting him in the corner.
Yeah, but you've got Kira here to guide you through all of this. We've got a couple of very experienced players. Paul Mitchell on the top, one of the preeminent, I would say, long-time Highlander players here in Australia. He's playing Grixis, a slightly different version of Grixis, very low to the ground. You know, seeing a Bob here, a few more one-drops. And then on the other side, Brayden Woods, he's a regular here at PoG. He's played a bunch of these events, top-8 quite a number of them. He's playing a Mardu deck, we're calling it. There's a couple green lands in there, like we saw with JD last round, but Mardu, roughly.
Very exciting. I feel like the low to the ground Grixis is to enable that Corey steel cutter.
Yeah,
you want to get as many triggers off of it as you want. But we're already well into it here.
Yep, so a Bob for Paul. Ocelot Pride, we saw that one last round. Really snowballing, same with Ragavan. That's kind of the name of the game with these Mardu cards. All these threats are cheap, they're powerful, and they snowball really fast.
And it's also the best one-drops that you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about Paul trying to maximize Corey Steel Cutter. There's a lot of really powerful cheap spells in Brayden's deck as well.
That's going to be Bob for a monkey. Bob's your uncle.
Exactly, exactly.
Bob for a monkey. The cat will get in and we'll make another cat. Brayden back up to 20 and we'll pass back. Yep,
player's going to flip life totals there. 1920, back the other way. This is a scary one though. Barrow Goyf. This...
The Goyfs in this format are really good.
They are. All of them. It's funny. Remember when Tarmogoyf was sort of the bane of Modern, one of the most powerful cards in Modern? Well, we've gotten better actually now. We've upgraded on that with some of these new Goyfs.
Ooh, and then a Skyclave apparition.
Force of Will there from Paul. So Brayden tries to answer the Barragoyf, recognizes how powerful this card is, and Paul does also recognize how powerful it is and says, no, I'm going to protect that. Try and ride this to victory.
Yep, so pitching an expressive iteration to a Force of Will.
Which really shows you how high he values this Barragoyf. He thinks he can go all the way because expressive iteration, a really powerful card, but in this case, keeping the Barragoyf in play, especially once your opponent has tapped all 3 mana for Skyclave apparition, so you know this Barragoyf is going to be clear to rumble next turn.
Really insane is like, it's always really interesting to me seeing cards like I recommend, like recognize from like ye old standard formats, and like they've made it into Highlander, which is how good they are.
Yes.
Because I remember when Expressive was played in standard, you know, what, 5-ish years ago at this point? Like it was a while, 5 or 6 years ago at this point. It was a while ago.
In my mind, Strixhaven's much more recent than that, but you're right. It is 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Barragoyf will come in, it'll chomp on a little cat token, and then the players will work out exactly how much life.
And then Goyf number 2.
More Goyfs.
Pyrogoyf in. No cats for you, Brayden.
No more cats. Pyrogoyf, yet another one of these very powerful Goyfs. This one also loves to play Goyf Tribal. I think that's the thing I often forget about this card, is it doesn't just trigger on itself. It triggers on every Goyf you play.
Yes. Which I'm wondering here, is there like a sequencing thing, you know, to... you know, playing the Barragoyf first or the Pyrogoyf first, because the Pyrogoyf kind of gets you a little bit more bang for your buck if you have the Barragoyf. Yeah,
if you get to sequence it the other way, you get to get an extra trigger off the Barragoyf. And as well, that extra trigger it's the Barragoyf dealing damage, so you get the lifelink and the death touch off of it, which is quite sweet as well. Instead though, Paul will just settle for simply having a dominating board of 2 Goyfs. So still pretty good this way as well.
I saw your 2 cats and I raise you 2 Goyfs.
Cat Tribal versus Goyf Tribal going on in the feature match area right now. Goyf Tribal comfortably ahead, I would say.
Yeah.
Looks like a Deadpool pull to the front of the hand for Brayden though. That's a really nice one.
Oh. That was so quick as well. The response was so fast.
Dazing a 4-drop is an excellent feeling in Highlander. Anytime your 0 mana counterspell, your 0 mana Force Spike trades for a whole 4 mana, you feel on top of the world.
Okay, so if you were Brayden though, what would your target have been for the Deadpool? Which text box do you want?
I think you have to take the Pyrogoyf and remove... Well, the problem is it won't actually remove any. Oh. No.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Because
it-
Pyroglyph counts all graveyards.
And the so the Deadpool will copy the size changing ability, right? Not a judge, but I believe it won't be a 5/3. I believe it'll
It's
be
just a text
Pyrograph
box.
sized, which means it won't actually remove either of the other glyphs. So it might have been Baraglyph.
Might have been Baraglyph then to get the life linking off.
But instead, got countered.
Got countered.
Got countered. Paul crashes in for 6 damage, gains some life, mills some cards.
We thought Brayden gaining 1 life off of the Ocelot Pride was a really good swing.
Yeah.
This is, I think, a little bit more powerful.
This is quite a lot. Baraglyph as well threatening to draw cards. Fills the graveyard for that Cling to Dust we see there. Really just in a commanding position. Only 1 card in hand, I believe, for Paul. But with the board looking like this,
I'm not exactly, you can see a Caracas. There's a Caracas in Brayden's hand as well, which doesn't really do anything about either of these Goyfs. And even though, sure, Brayden's got more potential resources to use, but I think Paul's very comfortably ahead.
Yeah, Caracas really a feast or famine card. We saw it look incredible last round in that Mardu mirror. I think we saw Kieran cast the same Ragavan 4 times.
Yes, they were saying to each other, "Where's the monkey?" Just
Excellent.
over and over again, and it was, "Monkey's in your hand."
Great. Times like that, I wish we had a microphone on the feature match.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm glad we don't, but sometimes the players come up with good bits.
There were definitely a couple of moments I was glad there were no microphones out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Brayden here deep in the tank, trying to work out how to possibly come back from here. He's playing Mardu, so has a lot of removal, but needs to find a way to claw this back. And we talked about this last round, but these Mardu decks really are designed to play from ahead. They have a lot of snowballing threats, the Monarch, the initiative creatures that play really well when you're ahead, but if you fall behind, it gets really difficult.
Dismember on the Pyroglyph. Which member?
Which member? Dismember. Yeah, so the Baraglyph there getting taken out, reducing the clock a little bit, only costs a couple life. Holding up the 3 mana though. So I believe had an extra black mana, so sort of signaling there's something in the hand.
Yeah.
For Paul, going to cast a cantrip, this Grixis machine just keeps on humming. This is the smoothest deck in the format. It's so consistent, it's so smooth. All the cards are good.
How much do you value the blue over the white in this kind of, because they're both playing black-red, but how much do you value the blue include versus the white include?
I mean, so far we've seen Force of Will and Daze look very good this game, and I think it's about the value you get as well in some of the other matchups, some of the combo matchups, and a truly excellent sequence here from Paul. So we see Brayden flash in the Philia, try to block, and then pick it up with the Caracas to get that sort of free block, and Paul says, no, I've got this Lightning Bolt. So
I've got this Lightning Bolt instead. Oh, Baraglyph of his own now, though.
Baraglyph is nice. That Psychic Frog is one of the most powerful cards in this format, though. I suspect we'll see that jumped to try and draw cards. The little Ophidian +++.
The discard looking less good for Paul in this spot, but the jumping looking very good.
Yes, yeah. That is the thing about the Psychic Frog. When you play it on turn 2, it threatens to attack for about 6. And when you play it later in the game with no cards in hand, it threatens to draw cards every time it attacks.
Yeah.
So it really plays both ways. And we will see 3 cards exiled, jump the frog. The frog will fly through the air.
The flog will fry.
The frog will fly.
The flog will fry. DRC.
Paul draws a card. DRC, that will be turned on, it looks like.
It's interesting to be in this position, though, with the DRC and the Psychic Frog, because it feels like they kind of don't like the effects that the other one presents, because Psychic Frog wants to be able to exile things from the graveyard, and DRC wants to have that Delirium switched on, so you have to be careful about what you choose to exile if you're going to jump.
Correct. There's also a Cling to Dust in the graveyard, which Paul would love to, escape that and draw a card off of it. But difficult to keep Delirium intact, difficult to keep enough cards for the frog to fly.
So a couple of competing things happening.
And there's something we see from this Grixis deck. There's a lot of cards that use the graveyard. Obviously, the Pyroglyph as well wants graveyards on, one or both sides, stocked full of cards. So there is some tension there. This Grixis deck, not a reanimated deck, not a graveyard deck in the traditional sense, but it is leaning on a lot of these really powerful, fair cards, we're going to say in air quotes, that do use the graveyard. Surveil here from Brayden. He's looking for something to catch him up.
Yeah. It's not looking great.
It's difficult, although with the Baraglyph in play, that represents a nice chunk of life gain. Going to trade with, at the moment it would trade with both the DRC and the Pyroglyph if Paul does want to block. So It's not the worst place to be. He would love a removal spell, though, to be able to punch through this Baraglyph.
Mm-hmm.
Decides to keep it on top. So has found one that he likes.
What could it be? What could it be?
And this is all complicated again by Paul's ability to potentially reduce the graveyards down, reduce the sizes of these Glyphs with that Cling to Dust. Now start with combat. Good place to start.
Start with attack you.
Yeah, attack with my large lifelink creature with an on-hit trigger. And see what you do, basically.
Yeah.
You know what? Math is for blockers. You can work it out.
It's been so interesting as well. Like, you know me. I'm largely, I got my competitive, like, Magic journey started in Standard, which is such a lower power.
Very
format.
different.
And then, I've gotten into Modern, and I do, play a little bit of Highlander as well. And it's so interesting. The sequencing is so important, and gaining the information at every possible step, and taking the time and playing just that little bit slower. Commander players are not super fussed about information in that way. So you just, draw for turn, land drop straight away.
Yep.
But there's so much more, in terms of sequencing of, I'm going to hold on to this card, even if it's a land. I'm going to make you think that I have something else because you don't know what I have. And that information is important.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really powerful effects sort of almost above the table. We're going to see a very cool play here from Paul. So those Glyphs did block. So there's 4 damage on that Baraglyph, which means if Paul can exile all of one type with this Cling to Dust and shrink the Baraglyph, it will now die. It'll become a 3/4, still with 4 damage on it.
With 4 damage marked, and then state-based actions will... Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Cute little play there from Paul to make Glyphs trade when they otherwise wouldn't. Yeah. And also gets to draw a card with the Cling to Dust.
Hey.
Looks like 3 types we're tracking at the moment. So I believe still Delirium on that Dragon's Rage channeler as well. And Bombardiers was the card that Paul kept.
I like this card.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong card. Interesting, playing it post-combat. The 2/2 minutes didn't actually have a good attack. So that's what we're talking about with holding it for more information so that your opponent doesn't know what your card is. The Frog will once again come into the red zone. No flying this time.
I was saying, no jumping this time, just hip-hopping away.
And this is threat of activation, right? Because Paul has a card in hand, he can threaten to discard it to eat the 2/3, or eat the 2/2, rather, with his 2/3 Frog. So Brayden can't block, and then Paul says, that's fine, I like the cards in my hand.
I like the cards in hand, I like to draw a card.
Yep.
It's all coming up, Paul.
It is. 3 cards in hand again, somehow.
Dashed Ragavan?
Dashing Ragavan, which is interesting. Post-combat Dash Ragavan. And we're going to Caracas it anyway. Oh,
Fatal Push.
That's really nice.
That's really interesting tech. That is, okay. I like that.
Walk us through what just happened there, Kira.
So, Paul went to dash a Ragavan post-combat, which seems really unintuitive, because when you dash the Ragavan at your end step, it goes back to your hand. But because a permanent left the battlefield, that will trigger the revolt for Fatal Push. And Brayden went, okay, seems really weird. I'll Caracas your Ragavan, which will still trigger revolt. And so the Fatal Push is able to be cast on the Bombardiers. Yep. Really, really interesting decision. I like that a lot. I think that's a very, big brain kind of play. We'll just regular play the Ragavan this time and Caracas it to your hand. So this is part 2 of Where's the Monkey?
Yeah, correct. We're gonna just keep seeing this monkey go up and down. Paul can now play it again post-combat, and then it'll probably get bounced again next combat. Notably, Paul is doing all of this with a counterspell in hand. So has that layer of safety to say, I'm going to keep trucking in with this Frog. The DRC must not quite have Delirium there. So that'll hang back. But the Frog's going to keep coming in, keep drawing cards, keep trying to pull Paul ahead, all while he has the safety blanket of this counterspell in hand.
The Frog, the Frog, the Frog, the Frog, the Frog.
That one might draw the counterspell, I reckon. There we go.
Counterspell.
The One Ring. Really powerful pointed card, but Paul says, no thank you.
It's worth it. I think that's a very worthwhile target.
Yeah, you don't want that one resolving. That's also a card that could pull Brayden back in front.
Yeah.
Frog draws 1 card at a turn. The One Ring draws a lot more than that.
Yeah, in exchange for life, which at some level, I honestly, it's tough to say. I wouldn't hate, excuse me, I wouldn't hate letting the One Ring resolve and just letting him die to his own One Ring.
Yeah, it's risky.
It's really risky at 10 life.
It is very tempting, though.
again, I think because Brayden's in top deck, his top deck era right now.
Yep.
Like all Brayden can do right now is continue to top deck. And so it strikes me as if you're not doing anything, you are just succumbing to defeat. And so I don't hate playing the One Ring out just to see, can I even see more cards? Can things possibly change for me?
Yep. And this is a really powerful turn here for Paul. Finds Ledger Shredder and then a removal spell. Gets to come across with the Frog. And the DRC gets in for 1 this turn. But just a really powerful board. And this is Grixis to a T. Really powerful 1s and 2 drops. The best interaction in the format. And just grinding your opponent out. Drawing more cards. Everything's really efficient. Solitude's a really nice draw though. That will answer the Frog.
Goodbye, Frog.
Paul gets 1 life. And he's going to immediately spend it on this Arid Mesa.
Would it have, obviously Paul has good cards in hand. Could you have discarded to gain more life? Again, it's not relevant right now.
You just get the choice. Do I want all the cards in my hand for this moment have, discard this, gain 1 life? Yeah. Choose not to. I think there's a Deadpool in his hands. That's pretty good. Won't keep that one. It's a really good one to swap with Solitude.
That's just nasty.
And I think there might be a Mental Misstep in hand as well. Brayden there tapping the top of his deck. Knowing that he needs a good draw now.
Heart of the cards. That's the heart of the cards tap.
Yeah, exactly. Brayden will get 3 life for that. But now there's a Deadpool in play. And we're going to see once again this second spell. Doesn't want the Thoughtseize. Gets to loot with the Ledger Shredder. I think that's a Tassiger.
Nothing but gas for Paul, it feels like.
Oh, a Delphi Voidwalker.
Okay, sure.
Hence Keybon coming. I believe this artifact will also give us Delirium. So, ooh, yep.
I think it's a troll.
It looked like a troll, which we could actually cast next turn. Put 6/5 in play. Think the Flyers will end the game though.
Troll would be nice, but I'm not sure if we can make it that long.
6 damage there in Flyers as the DRC and the Ledger Shredder soar across. Brayden is left to look at this troll, which not gonna do
let's just pick it up.
So game 1 going to Paul Mitchell. Really showcasing the power of Grixis there. Both the powerful threats, Baraglyph, Pyroglyph, Psychic Frog, Ledger Shredder.
Force of Will, Daze, Counterspell, all the protection behind your good spells as well, being able to back it up. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we saw very early on that Skyclave Apparition. If Skyclave Apparition gets to exile a Baraglyph, that's on curve, 3 mana for 3 mana, you're feeling pretty good about that. But it's the free counter spells that just let you force through. And then we saw again the next turn with Deadpool, another free counter spell that make you struggle to remove Grixis' threats. And if you can't keep them off the board, they're really powerful. Every threat is potentially game-ending.
The read for me here, what I see as a format novice, so to speak, is the white is the aggressive angle. It's the far more, Solitude, Philia, Blink, aggressive push, and the blue is controlling. The blue is controlling not only your opponent, but making sure you can force your own things through as well.
Yes, absolutely. The white, I think, gives you some aggressive creatures. We saw Ocelot Pride, we saw Guided Souls at the end there. So there's those really powerful small creatures. Also, one of the things the white gives you, as it often does in many sort of older formats, there's a lot of specific creatures that are very impactful in combo matchups. You think about, in times gone by, something like a Thalia or a Kataki. That style of card, Archon of Emeria is a card that these Mardu decks often play, but those aren't so good against Grixis. Grixis really just needs each of your cards to stand on its own, and those very sort of narrow, hateful cards are often not as effective here.
So my understanding is that Grixis is just, you've said it a couple of times already, it's one of the best decks. Do you think it's the best Highlander deck currently?
I'm not sure there is a best Highlander deck. I think so much of Highlander comes down to your own experience with your deck. It is truly a format where I think you can get better results sometimes with a deck you have more experience with, both in playing it, because the games are complex, and because it's a singleton format, I mean, Commander players will know this as well, but it's very rare you see the same situation come up twice.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of working out what to do from similar experiences maybe, but compared to something like a 4-of format, like a Standard or a Modern, where you see the same situations over and over, doesn't happen in Highlander. So your prior experience matters a lot. That said, Grixis is definitely one of the best decks. It is one of the decks that's had a lot of iteration and refinement by a large number of players. So it's a good place to start if you like fair blue mid-range decks. You can go pick up a well-performing list and know that you are standing on the shoulders of giants, of all the people who've worked on it before.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed as well that I find really cool just from a game design perspective is how many commander cards, like specifically.
So many.
And I mean, like, I don't mean, Soul Ring, which is still like a pointed card, but I mean literally like Broadside Bombardiers, the Pyrogoyf, the Barogoyf, cards that were designed specifically in commander precons.
Yep.
That are so good.
Yes, there are a lot of them. And part of that is, I think, just from a game design perspective, the scaling is very different in Highlander versus Commander. The biggest example of this, I think, is the initiative creatures, which half of them are pointed, something like that. But all of the ones that cost less than 4 mana are pointed. Yeah. Most of the 4 mana ones are pointed. Some of the 5 mana ones are pointed, And the reason for that is just that the initiative is designed as a multiplayer mechanic. And a great example of this is the trap room, right?
Yeah.
So, like, one player loses 5 life. In Commander, that's like, it's a nice effect. It's a little bit of damage. In Highlander, that's a quarter of your opponent's life total.
Literally, yeah.
And so the scaling is different. And that's true for a lot of these Commander cards. True Name Nemesis is a traditional example of this. In Commander, it's cool. You pick one opponent and it has protection from that player. But everyone else can interact with it. In Highlander, that choice is a lot more obvious.
In a 1v1 format, it's definitely so much more significant to be able to say, choose an opponent. This is a really difficult decision to be making right now. You.
So I think that's why we see a lot of those Commander cards show up in Highlander, that they can have a little bit of extra power that would not be okay in a standard set.
No, absolutely not.
And same with Modern Horizons cards. Similar sort of thing. We see Ragavan, we see Guard of Souls, we see Ocelot Pride.
Here's some more speculation for me as we get into game 2 here. Brayden on the play, Bloodstained Mare to Spark, and then Woodford Hills.
Yep, couple fetch lands.
And there is a speculation here. There was a card from Avatar: The Last Airbender that was spoiled.
Oh, yes.
That was the redirect spell. That was like change target. It was a lesson. It was like, redirect lightning.
Yes, I know the one you're talking about.
Change a target of a spell.
It is redirect lightning. It's a lesson. Yeah. So we bring it up on screen there.
Change the target of a target spell or ability with a single target. How good do you think something like this could be as a sideboard card for something like...
Has potential for sure. It is quite situational, will be its biggest downside, but costs a single mana, so it has the potential to be really powerful. When it works, when you get to redirect, a removal spell from your creature to your opponents, it's going to feel incredible. But the downside is purely that it's quite situational, so we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, for Brayden, he's going to be first to the board here with a Voice of Victory. This is a really powerful card
Voice of Victory
against counterspell decks like Grixis.
I think this is a good moment to be playing it as well. We talk a lot in competitive Magic about the draw play disparity and about being able to be that kind of one step ahead.
Yes.
I think something like Voice of Victory against a deck like Grixis is going to be really key to being able to stick future spells.
Yes. It snowballs. And also it attacks for 3. Yeah. Because why not?
Why not?
They decided Grand Abolisher would get a bit of an upgrade in 2025.
Yeah. How do you feel about the redirect lightning with a Hymn to Draw?
Oh boy, that sounds good.
I think like that would be really funny.
That sounds excellent to me.
Psychic Frog. That's not a bad 2-drop for Grixis. I see your Voice of Victory. Here's my frog.
Yeah, here's my 2-point card.
Yeah. I see your Voice of Victory and I raise you 2 points.
And this is, again, we talked about this with the frog. Last game, Paul drew the frog with no cards in hand, but it sort of dug him out of that. This is the opposite. He plays it on turn 2, and then Voice of Victory, you can attack if you want, but Paul might just decide, I'm going to discard 2 cards and grow my frog.
Ooh, a Johnny is the play here. And this is kind of in a much better position. I'm also having flashbacks. What is this? What's the red land duel? This shows you how much I don't know about
the
red-white duel.
Oh, Plateau. Yes.
Plateau. Oh my gosh. Sorry to everyone at home. I'm outing myself as someone who does not own reserve list cards.
You know what? Fair enough. And even if you don't own reserve list cards, though, this format has become much more, I suppose, friendly and open to those decks with the 8-point rule. We saw Kieran last round playing a similar deck to Brayden, actually, but with no dual lands, gets the extra point. We're seeing lots of Dimir decks that are 8 point.
Oh, look, I finally built my first Highlander deck.
Exciting.
It's in my bag.
What'd you build?
I built 8-point Blue Moon.
Excellent. Beautiful.
That's my jumper is I'm wearing my Blood Moon hoodie today as well. I'm representing.
No, I appreciate that. I can appreciate not wanting your opponent to get to play magic or cast spells.
Well, because look, our mountains.
Yeah, our mountains.
That underground sea, that's our mountain.
Excellent.
Dashed Ragavan, it looks like, as well this turn.
I think we had Ledger Shredder and then
Ledger Shredder and
Ragavan.
then Ragavan.
Hardcast,
okay, Hardcast Ragavan. The monkey is here to stay.
We have seen a lot of Ragavan today. Very powerful 1-drop. Again, it just snowballs so well. It not as powerful into a crowded board, but if you can keep the board clear, and if there's one thing Grixis loves to do, it's cast removal spells and keep the board clear.
We have jumped the frog this turn as well. That'll be in for 1. Brayden going to fetch as well. Yeah, I was going to say, despite seeing a plateau on the board, I'm getting flashbacks to Regional Championship 10 last weekend looking at Brayden's board. I can see all the same cards that I saw last week.
Yeah, we've seen a fair bit of Boros Energy style cards today.
Guide of Souls, Voice of Victory, a Johnny,
Ragavan.
Ocelot
Prize.
If only there were multiple of each of these things.
Yeah, it's some of these cards stack really well, but not in Highlander. We could play some clones. We could.
Clones usually in blue, though.
It's true, yeah. Probably not in this deck.
Surveil. Looks like Brayden's going to keep that on top as well. And what was it? Ephemerate.
That's a nice one.
That's a nice one if there's a Solitude in hand, for sure. I
think I can see a White Plume Adventurer.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Headliner Scarlet. I don't think I've seen anyone play this before.
I've seen it be played a few times. It's usually the last spell cast in a game. Because it frequently comes down. So it comes down and it says, your opponent can't block this turn. It's also going to basically draw an extra card each turn, impulse draw. So it's kind of like a Phyrexian Arena.
Cool.
But the big thing here is it just says you can't block, which is why it's frequently the last spell cast in a game, because it comes down and your opponent dies. As we get a brief solar flare.
What's like the Akira, like the
Yeah. So what we see actually, what is being set up here by Brayden is he says, okay, I'm going to attack you with everything. You can attack me back for a bit. You're going to get a Ragavan trigger. You get a Psychic Frog trigger. But we know there's an Ephemerate.
We're going to Ephemerate the Headliner Scarlet. And then we're going to do it next turn on the rebound.
And all of this with Voice of Victory in play. So you know there can't be a removal spell on the Headliner Scarlet in response. Paul does have a Lightning Bolt, but has to choose on his turn.
Now or never. Wow.
Yeah, really powerful.
That was awesome. I loved that.
And we'll see whether Paul can sniff it out. He has removal spells, so he could remove the Headliner Scarlet now, because it is also just going to draw a card in Brayden's upkeep, right? Very powerful card that maybe Paul doesn't want to stick in play anyway.
Ragavan hits a dog off the top.
Philia. And even if Paul decides he doesn't want the Philia, the treasure token's really valuable here.
Yeah.
He's got a handful of cards and just gets to deploy them more efficiently this way.
Headliner Scarlet, speaking of more weird cards. That I never would have picked this.
This one's from Ravnica Clue Edition.
The Cluedo Edition.
Yeah.
How, in what world?
This one, I think, took a little bit for people to catch on.
Yeah, and it's good.
It's really good. I think it came from
I have to go get one now.
People kept losing to it in Vintage Cube, I suspect. That's how I discovered it. Was having my Boros opponents in Vintage Cube just kill me out of nowhere.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. And people in chat, feel free to tell me to shut up if I've said this too many times. But all of the best spells that people are playing are from the last, they're old spells. They're from the last 15 years. Yeah,
there's a few exceptions, but yeah, a lot of
them. The creatures were printed in the last 2 years.
That is how Highlander does feel sometimes. Yeah, it's a lot of the really powerful recent creatures, and then all the busted old spells. It's Dual Lands, Black Lotus, and
Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt, and then whatever 2024 onwards
Headliner Scarlet. Well, and Paul did make the decision to Lightning Bolt on Headliner Scarlet on his turn. He decided, no, I don't want you to be able to do this again, because it does threaten a repeatable effect.
Yes, absolutely. it's gonna sort of be that Phyrexian arena, even without the threat of just, blowing up Paul's board and killing him out of nowhere.
Taskier and an Urza's Bauble.
And
Bailmerk.
See an Overlord of the Bailmerk. And now this board has grown very rapidly for Paul. So that turn, Paul cast a Lightning Bolt, a Philia, a Tassiger, and then also a Bauble on top, just for good measure.
Really would have loved to have seen the Corey Steel Cutter that we know is in Paul's deck, because that value would have been unreal.
Yeah, get an extra Monk. Really nice.
Extra Monk. You get, the
Prowess trigger off the Bauble.
Oh,
yep. And that is sort of the ethos of Paul's deck here, is really efficient spells. Going to play lots of them every turn. And just sort of overwhelm your opponent with card quality.
Mm.
And so now for Brayden, suddenly 8 life looks like a lot. Without that Headliner Scarlet in play, we have to try and slow down, which is a difficult thing to do against this board that he faces.
Well, because that if the Headliner Scarlet was around with the Ephemerate, that's game.
Yep.
That's more than enough.
Yes.
Especially with the tokens that Voice of Victory makes as well. And when your opponents can't block, it's free.
I think that's a Palace Trailer in Brayden's hand.
What are you taking?
Well, the problem is whatever you take is going to come back.
Yeah.
Because you have no way to stop the Ledger Shredder or the Psychic Frog from hitting you. So it's tricky. It looks like we're going to go with Overlord. So this is a way to rebuy the Headliner Scarlet. If we can buy a turn, then next turn we can do it all over again.
Yep, very good.
This time it is face up though. Paul knows what's coming.
Yeah. Ooh, I like this.
Could also see Ephemerate on the Sejani maybe, get an extra cat. A few options here. You're going to see play a Ragavan. Okay. So this looks to me like take a turn off, try and block, try and just stay alive and set up for this Headliner Scarlet to KO Paul next turn. This cat kind of gets to come in for free, because if it gets blocked, great. The Ajani gets to flip. If it doesn't get blocked, gets in for 2 damage. Also great.
Yeah. And the Ajani flip would deal, I believe it's 4 damage? Because it would
make a token, and then there'd be 3. There'd be the Ragavan, the Voice of Victory, and the cat token.
So then you can bolt something as well?
Yeah, pretty nice. You can bolt something. You can bolt Paul.
You can choose to bolt the frog.
Yeah, see.
And force him to decide if he really wants those cards or if he wants the frog.
Yep. Few different options. Instead, Paul will say, I don't want any of that to happen. That's fine, I'll take 2.
Do you mind if I quickly read the back of your Planeswalker? Oh,
that seems bad for me.
You can, 2's fine.
I mean, the thing is, if you block, Paul Brayden just gets another cat. It's like the cat never died. You just replace it anyway.
You replace the cat and then you bolt something. You potentially lose your frog, or you take 3 to the face. It's pretty free.
At absolute best for you, the Ajani blocks, makes a cat and bolts you, and you took 3 instead of 2. There's still a cat in play. The cat is untapped now. Really, just no way it works out better for you.
It's free. It's free real estate.
Exactly.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate. And so now at 6 life, though, it gets precarious. And Paul knows there's a Headliner Scarlet.
Yeah.
He knows that's on the other side. There's a Voice of Victory in play, so he can't do anything. He can't cast a counterspell. He kind of needs to find a way to find a discard spell, try and end the game, or at least reduce down Brayden's board to less than 6 power.
Yeah. My understanding as well, and that's actually really hard because Warped Riddler, very cool.
That's really nice with your opponent's Philia in play.
Yeah.
This is a combo we normally see in Esper decks, but it also works when you steal your opponent's Philia. So the combination here, of course, Quantum Riddler coming down for 2 mana with the Warp ability. So it's going to go away at the end of turn. It's nice and balanced. Of course, if you attack with the Philia and you flicker it, then it just stays.
It just stays around.
And you get another card out of it. So that's what Paul's going to do. He's going to say, yep, I'll draw another card in my end step.
In Modern as well, when you have the Philia, Riddler, and Frog, you can also, with the Philia, with the Quantum Riddler trigger on the stack, you can activate your Psychic Frog, discard your hand, then draw 2 cards.
Yep. Yeah, so if there's cards you don't want in your hand, you can discard down, get deeper into
more
the deck.
value.
However, this is sort of a desperation play.
Yeah.
Because Paul knows that he has to find something very soon.
It's not the best position to be in, but again, I feel like short of multiples, I'm watching a Modern match right now.
Now, he's drawn an Unholy 8. We're still in Paul's end step. This is his last chance to cast spells because on Brayden's turn, that Voice of Victory will protect him, and does the math, realizes, nope, can't do anything
Doesn't
about
matter.
that. That Headliner Scarlet is going to take me out. So Brayden takes game 2.
1-1.
We are headed to game 3, just what we'd like.
Precarious as well. Now, the play-draw disparity here, how are you thinking this is going to go out in game 3 with Paul on the play again?
It is a really big deal in this matchup. We've seen both decks have so many powerful, cheap cards.
The solar flare!
Both decks have so many cheap threats, and the ability for Paul to put a threat in play and then protect it and let it snowball, whereas on the draw, he's more likely to have to play removal spells before he can get a threat in play.
Yeah. Ooh, I liked that.
That was good.
And that felt a lot better. It felt like we were seeing more from both decks. You know, game 1, unfortunately, Brayden fell quite a bit behind and fell victim to a lot of just tempo counterplay.
Yes.
Whereas this was a great game for Brayden of just, here's my Ajani, here's my Voice of Victory. You cannot cast spells on my turn. Let me do my thing. I am going to force spells through.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where game 1 was really a showcase of how Grixis wants to play the games.
Yeah.
Put a threat in play, protect it with a lot of cheap or free counter spells. Game 2 is a bit more how Mardu likes the game to go. You know, sort of disrupting Grixis's removal suite and then finishing with sort of a haymaker like Headliner Scarlet to bust through what was a really powerful board there from Paul. But 2 turns of no blocks is enough for the Mardu deck to just chunk away your whole life total.
Yeah. I have to go buy a copy of Headliner Scarlet now.
That's a really powerful
That card is really cool.
And I mean, as I said, it's frequently it just ends the game when it comes down.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, it draws a card every turn.
Yeah.
Just in case
It's
that
still
wasn't
good.
enough. It says, I'm probably going to kill you this turn, and if I don't, I'll just draw some more cards. And we'll find a way next turn.
Yeah. In terms of other cards that are coming soon, how do you like the look of Wan Shi Tong, the Librarian?
Yeah, this is the card that people have been talking about a lot, I think, for this format.
Looks really good.
It is a very powerful card, the Bird Spirit.
Because here's what I think is really... I think this card is about to be played in every format. I think it's about to be played in... I take that back. I don't think it's going to be played in Standard that much because there's not a lot of searching libraries happening. But Modern...
Pioneer as well, I think it won't see play. But do
people still play Pioneer?
I like playing Pioneer.
I'm sorry.
No one plays it, but I'm having fun doing absolute nonsense in that format.
Yeah.
But yes, any format with fetch lands is just a really great baseline. And then as soon as you start adding in other search effects, like a lot of our combo decks in this format love to search their libraries.
Yeah.
Really powerful.
Paul's going to bobble himself.
Yeah, a little bit of a scry trick here. So looks at the top card of his library and then chooses not to sacrifice the fetch land because he likes the card on top. If he didn't like it, he would sacrifice his fetch land and get a bit of a shuffle.
And Brayden says, I like the card that's on the top of your library too. Can I see it?
Yeah. Hey, what you leave on top there? What you got over there, buddy?
Oh, Corey Steelcutter in hand for Paul this time around. Paul also looking like he's considering, momentarily he was considering countering, even though doesn't look like he had a card able to do that. But that's a Corey Steelcutter, Terminate, Pyrogoyf, Dark Slick Shores?
Dark Slick Shores on the end, and then the 2 black cards I think are maybe Dismember?
Dismember.
Or Cling to Dust? The sun is back.
The sun is back. We'll have to get the blinds
There's a
pulled
beautiful
down.
sunny day here in Melbourne, which is why we are sequestered in a back room with a sliver of sky.
We're going to sunbake our players.
So Brayden will write these down, have a think about what he wants to take.
Yeah.
Corey Steelcutter feels like one I'm interested in not having to deal with this game. To me, that's my first instinct. This card, of course, recently banned in Standard.
And for good reason.
Yeah, we did that for a little bit. And they banned it. And thank goodness they did, because now we have a different blue-red deck dominating Standard.
Yeah. It's funny, like, not much really changed. And Corey Steelcutter to the bin, and I think that is very fair.
Yes, no one wants to see that card anymore.
Yeah, I need sunglasses to watch this match.
The thing that really sold me on this card was you'll see the Storm decks in this format play Corey Steelcutter as a sideboard card because they can regularly just put it in play and then cast another 20 spells and kill you with the Prowess Haste Monk.
Yeah.
Or if they don't kill you in one turn because you have lots of interaction for their storm stuff, they'll just cast 3 or 4 spells a turn and run you over with monks.
It's fine.
I did the same thing. I've been playing Breach, Underworld Breach in this format. Same thing there. Yeah, I'm a combo deck, but sometimes I just put a Corey Steelcutter and play and make some monks. Meanwhile, speaking of powerful 2-drops, got to Thoughtseize one of them, Brayden did, but now there's a frog in play again.
Unfortunately, you can't always Thoughtseize the top of your opponent's library.
Correct. We saw Paul get a Surveil land there. So he got 2 looks, saw the frog on top and went, yeah, that one's good.
That's great.
I'll keep that one.
Looks good.
Looks like it is Dismember and Cling to Dust, the last 2 cards in Paul's hand. So he's got removal.
2 removal spells and a discard spell?
2 removal spells, yeah, like a cantrip and a creature and like the best Flame Tongue carver you've ever seen.
Yes.
Down to 16 for Brayden. As we see what 2-drop he can muster to battle with this frog. There aren't many of them, to be honest, especially with 3 removal spells in hand. Would love to see a removal spell here, I think. And he does have a Skyclave Apparition in hand. So we could see that next turn, but the frog will get in once. Just going to be an Overlord from Brayden. And he does mill a creature. So lucky. Finds Emperor of Bones, and now that's going to start to tick down. Kind of just like it's a timer on this game, right? 2 mana, picks up a creature, it's fine. It's kind of like a weird cantrip. But it does say you need to try and end this game quickly, or this Overlord, once it turns on, very powerful.
Overlord good because you can just also keep rebuying creatures when it attacks, and it's a 5/4?
It is a 5/5.
Whee!
Big.
That spirit is big.
Notably here, Paul did get to draw a card with the frog, but missed a land drop. And Brayden's just going to pass. So didn't cast the Skyclave Apparition. Which is interesting. Paul's going to try and cycle this Cling to Dust. I think there Brayden may be having a look at Paul's hand. He knows there's a cantrip. He knows that Paul chose to miss a land drop rather than cast this Cling to Dust on his own turn to try and find a land. And I think that for Brayden might signal, oh, okay, I think there's a counterspell over there. And so I'm not going to just run this Skyclave Apparition out.
Not just recklessly run things out into counter spells.
Looks like we're going to see him respond to this Cling to Dust, though. So he might have a spell in his own step, in his own end step, rather. March of Otherworldly Light on the frog. Yeah, so waited till Paul had tapped down, had less mana up, couldn't cast counterspell, and then gets to exile the frog.
And again, this is where like sequencing is so important, and waiting for every possible piece of information is so incredibly important. This is a game of information. The more information you have, I was saying to Maya once, you know, she said to me, how many fewer games of Magic would you lose if you knew the contents of your opponent's hand?
Oh yeah.
You'd rarely, you know, someone has to lose, but
that's a lot of the power of the discard spell. Something like a Thoughtseize is great because it takes a card, you get to disrupt your opponent's plan, but a lot of the information is just, oh, I got to see what's in my opponent's hand, I get to play around it. It's why we see Gitaxian Probe banned in every format.
Yeah, except this one.
Well, yeah, you can play it here. Pretty much every blue deck does, and some of the non-blue decks also play it.
I've got a really beautiful white border Mystery Booster 2 Gitaxian Probe in my deck. I'm trying to do something horrible. I'm trying to get as many white border cards in my deck as I feasibly can.
So I like white border cards in general. I especially like them in something like Blue Moon, where your entire deck is about being rude to people. So yeah, great.
The more that I upset you, the better.
Exactly. This is sort of what we talked about though. So the game has slowed down. Paul found the 3rd land after casting a couple cantrips last turn. But now, that Overlord, it's a ticking clock. It's
really is. The other great thing, this combination between Overlord and Emperor of Bones, like if you're able to flicker the bones later and get something underneath it.
Yeah. Or I think what we'll probably see here is a removal spell on the Overlord, and then the Emperor of Bones can get the Overlord back, get an ETB trigger, and then an attack trigger off the Overlord.
Yeah.
Draw a couple cards. Really powerful.
Kind of yucky.
Paul here going to hold back. Could have played the Pyroglyph instead. Probably going to try and cast a couple spells this turn. He has heaps of cards in hand. He just needs to catch up on the board.
Would you rather save the Pyroglyph for the Overlord? Is that kind of, you know, I see your 5/5 and I, you know, need a removal spell that'll be able to, because the Dismember can handle it as well.
So can the Terminate.
Oh, true, actually.
A few options.
Okay, all right.
I think for me, it's just about wanting to use your mana efficiently. whatever you think is the way to use your mana most efficiently, that's what you got to do. Because you got heaps of cards in hand and you just want to make sure they get used. Going to be Surveil land for Paul.
What are you looking for?
Probably a 5th land. I think he's got 6 spells in hand. It's probably just a 5th land to be able to get these cards out of your hand. Yeah, Bin's a Bauble. And now I expect we'll see some cards played. I think we saw a Toxic Deluge in hand. Fatal Push going to take care of Emperor of Bones. So nice trade there. And maybe now, the other thing is putting the Paragraph in play is pretty risky while the Emperor of Bones is still in play. Because that's not one you want coming back. Even for 1 turn. Off the Emperor of Bones. Looks like a pass from Paul. So continuing to play this control role. Knows there's not currently any pressure in play. He has the removal spell for that Overlord. And just going to try and play defensive a little bit.
From what I briefly saw in Paul's hand, doesn't look like counter magic either. It looks like heaps of removal. And I wonder, is there a risk of overboarding when you play that last match and Brayden has so many creatures out that you overboard in removal as opposed to disruption? Definitely
a risk. I mean, so many of Brayden's cards sort of have ETBs or really powerful abilities that make them somewhat resilient into removal. Looks like Brayden also has a lot of removal in hand, though. We saw him keep a Solitude on top there. He's got a Skyclave Apparition. I think that might be a Dismember. So much so, in fact, that we're just going to flash in a Solitude. Put a Lifelinker in play.
Flash in a Solitude on nothing.
Yeah, just wanted that 3/2 Lifelinker.
Would you do this as a way to kind of bait out any kind of removal and then potentially ephemerate on the Solitude to protect it?
That would be great if there's an... I don't know if there's an ephemerate in hand.
I don't know if there's an ephemerate in hand, but it seems risky with such open-faced removal.
Yeah, I also think to some degree this is just a sign or a recognition from Brayden that he needs to apply pressure. Because as they keep going long, Paul has a lot of card draw. Like, he will find ways to grind out a really long game. And it is... The onus is on Brayden to pressure. Try and end the game. Paul, on the other hand, has a Toxic Deluge in hand. So I think was maybe trying to prompt a bit of a overextension.
Yeah.
But the Paragraph is a nice way to try and remove a card and also put a threat in play. But it is going to be met by Dismember, which is a really nice answer.
Now let me tell you, I would have loved an Ephemerate there to then also remove the Pyroglyph.
That would have been really nice.
I think that would have been beautiful.
I mean, in this case, we're going to remove the Pyroglyph, I think, with the Dismember. And then also, because it shrinks the power, the Pyroglyph then won't deal as much damage. So it might not even kill the Solitude.
Oh, very good.
Looks like players just checking how many types we've got. You can see Artifact, Instant, Sorcery, Land, and I think there must be a creature as well. So a 5/6 Goyf there. The Dismember will shrink it to a 0/1, so it won't deal damage, it won't remove the Solitude, but it will stick around in play, which is pretty scary. City of Traders, right on time.
Wow.
3, 4. Deadpool.
Yay!
Everyone's favorite.
This card is so interesting to me and also very frustrating in the way that it really makes you keep track of a new thing. Like, you have to move a text box around on the board.
Yeah, there's no good way of doing it in paper.
Drown in the Lock from Paul, really good there.
Yep, there's one of those counter spells. But another 4-drop. Palace Jailer. This is another one of those, not a commander card, but a multiplayer card that sees play in this format.
It seems like functions in, 1v1 formats, like the Initiative, like Monarch, are so much more powerful in 1v1.
I think the big difference is that it's easier to hold on to the Monarch.
Yes.
In a 1v1 format. There's only one player who can attack you, Whereas in a multiplayer format, trying to hold on to it through 3 other players' turns is really difficult. Yeah. Whereas here, Paul has no board. And we see as well, Brayden says, I'm not even going to attack with this Solitude. Even though you have no creatures in play at the moment, I just want to keep this back to block just in case. because I really need to hold on to this monarchy.
Toxic Deluge.
Yep. So Paul will sweep up the board and follow up with...
A card.
That looks a bit like a Plague Engineer. That'd be an interesting one, though.
Follows up with a black card.
It is a Plague Engineer.
Plague Engineer. Very cool. I was just, prior to this Toxic Deluge getting cast, I was just about to ask, based off of the game 2 that we saw, how it doesn't seem like very many... Oh, choke.
And that is what the green is for in this deck. This is a Mardu deck, but we've got some green lands in the sideboard.
We've got
some green lands for some
choke.
Powerful green cards.
I love choke and I love Carpet of Flowers.
Yeah, that makes sense given you're playing
Blood Moon. Don't stop it.
Choke is really... that is a card of the similar type.
Yep.
So that's really powerful now. Against Terminate will take care of the Skyclave Apparition, which importantly gives Paul a token so he can try and take back the monarchy. However, many of his lands are not untapping.
It looks like most of them. It looks like the Underground Sea, the Volcanic Island, the Undercity Sewers, and the Thundering Falls. So 4 lands are not untapping.
There is, however, a Darkslick Shore, so he still has blue mana. But Pyrogoyf going to take care of the token, and then we'll draw for being the Monarch. Paul has a Quantum Riddler he can try and draw a card with, but it's really hard to play Magic when most of your lands don't untap.
When you don't get to untap them. Our players are on turns now. So you're into the nitty-gritty part, and it's a 4th Aerlingus in Brayden's hand.
That's a good one.
You have to hope that there is not a force.
So, yeah, or the other thing is best to play around days.
Yes.
I would say.
Because just because they're tapped doesn't mean you can't pick them up.
Yep. And the judge just picking up their Quantum Riddler should have drawn an extra card. Only had 1 card in hand for Paul when that trigger went off. So does get to draw the extra card. It's not an extra trigger, so you can't really miss it.
Now, if Brayden leaves 2 untapped, that will play around the days. Unless I pay 2?
Yeah, leaves 1 untapped. Days is 1.
There we go.
No counterspell there. Did actually leave, I think, 1 or 2 untapped.
1 or 2 untapped, just in case. And that will be going to Brayden.
So Brayden Woods comes back, takes round 2. He'll move on to 2-0. Paul Mitchell 1-1. We got 4 more rounds. 4 more rounds of Swiss. So stick around.
Wait.
As we said, that was in time. So it should be a pretty quick turnaround into the next round.
Very exciting.
We'll be back soon.